Hello and welcome to Effects Systems. Today we're going to be talking about Merlin modules, how to remove them, replace them, and even add an additional if you need to. Merlin modules are stored on an Avalon card, like this one here. This example has 3 fitted and they're underneath an air guide. So let's start with taking off the air guide. There are 4 long screws. So we'll quickly undo those. And then there are 2 retaining hooks on this end. So we lift from the back and remove. And we can see here 3 Merlin modules. They are numbered 0, 1 and 2. We have original Merlins fitted here, which are good for 1080, and they're also used for browse generation. Now in this configuration with 3, they can be set to either 4 input, 4 output, or 2 half duplex, so that's 2 channels in, 2 channels out, and a browse generation location. It's possible when you open up your Avalon, you might find a Merlin 2. This is the more powerful brother to the Merlin 1 and is used for 4K resolution. You might find 2. If you see a 3rd module, that will be a Merlin 1. You cannot fit a Merlin 2 in position 2. So it would be Merlin 2, Merlin 2, Merlin 1 for browse creation. It is possible when you take off the air guide to only find 2 Merlin modules, and they will be in these 2 positions. There are some special customers with only 1 Merlin in this position. If you find you've only got 1 Merlin, get in contact with us. We'll see what you've got. Right, we've looked at your logs and we've determined which module is at fault. As I said before, 0, 1 and 2. Let's assume you've got a problem with 0, which is this one here. Let's remove that. There's 1 more screw to remove. The other screw positions were held in place by the long screws from the air guide. So let's remove this. That's 1 screw with a copper washer. It's very important you keep an eye on that copper washer. Don't lose it, which I will explain later. So we have our faulty Merlin module. Put that somewhere. You have your new one. Before you plug it in, just have a quick check of the connector. There are multiple connectors on the back of this board, but the only one that's important is this one here. These others are used for debug. Don't worry about them. Now make sure that copper washer we've removed hasn't somehow fallen into there. I have seen customers where they've got the washer stuck in the connector, fitted it on, horrible short circuit. You don't want to do that. Horrible, horrible mess. Plus check for dust or muck and bits of foam or bubble wrap, anything. Just make sure that's going to be clean. And then it's just a simple case of popping it back on again and putting the original screw back into that position. Now when you fit modules, it's important that you always have, starting from the middle position, leading to the edge. You can't have a gap in the middle. So if you were running a 2 Merlin module system, you can't have one there and one there. They have to be next to each other. So this one starts first. Once this is programmed, this one starts and then this one starts. So you can't have a gap. You can't have a faulty one here. They have to be in order. When the system is turned off and the card's out, it's well worth doing a little bit of visual maintenance. There are 3 areas you should be looking at. Let's start at the back here. First one are these fans. These fans are pulse width modulated fans, which means they can change their speed depending on how warm the card's getting. So you've got 12 volts, 0 volts, the pulse width modulated signal that comes into the fans to tell them how fast to spin, and a feedback line that goes back out to Xilinx. These being pulse width modulated fans, they have a tendency, if the 0 volt line is not connected, to send 12 volts down the feedback line, which blows up the port on a Xilinx. It shouldn't be possible, but if these cables are binding with the handle, I have seen one or two that pull the connector out. I'll have a little picture somewhere that shows you what the cable looks like. So pay attention, it's not binding. As you can see, these ones are not touching at all, and that's what you should be seeing. I have seen people who change the fan assemblies, don't twist the cables properly, don't line them in, and they do pull out. So just be careful. That's the first thing to look for. Oh, if you do accidentally run it with 0 volts connected and 12 volts goes down to these eye-links, it will work. You're not going to break your card. What's going to happen is it's going to think that fan isn't spinning, so you're going to get a warning saying you've got a broken fan, but the card will work. The other thing to look for are these serial I/O connectors. Now these, I'll have a close-up picture so you can see this more easily. These have a sprung olive that clicks into the plastic housing. They are quite difficult to remove. In fact, you need a special tool, but I have seen them come out very occasionally. So just give them a quick tug. If they move, push them back in again. I say this because if they're not in securely, when you plug the card back into the crate, it might pull them back out again. Now, thirdly, and most importantly, check for dirt on the fans. Is there any muck building up along the heat sinks? Number one killer of these is long-term overheating. So check for dirt and dust. I think that just about wraps it up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and one of our highly skilled engineers or me will get back to you. I hope that's been of help. Goodbye.